Yo, yo, Marsden, Isaac, hey, hey, Marina, Autumn, hi, Lucas, Hepner, what's up, Lucas? Can you guys hear me okay? Happy Sunday to you too, J Charm. Isaac, good. Taylor says, hey, hey. Vince, hey, no, hope all is well. Today I'm having weird, random, depressive mood. Frustrating, dude. I feel you on that. My mood this past couple months has been uneven and unreliable, which has been hard. So I have so much empathy for you, and I hope it passes soon. Kathy says, hi from Ireland. Hi, Kathy. Beach Mom says, hello again from Central Florida. Hey, Beach Mom. Joe McCormick, hey from the UK. That always makes me happy. Kiana Freed says, hi. Hi, Kiana. Jason Sandoval, hello from San Diego, California. Hey, Jason. How are you? Taylor, how's it shaking? Shaking okay. Just wanted to do a live stream, and so I am. I'm happy to be here. How's it shaking for you? Lucas says, sounds good, thank you. Marzen, yep, yes sir, good. Husky Love Music, sup, no, I'm delivering DoorDash, driving around, hopping in to hang out. I love it. Good for you. Glad you're here. Thanks, Kiana, for the audio update. Plo Koon says, what's up? What up, dude? Osama Katan says, man, I love you. I love your videos. I commented many times that you should explore ayahuasca healing from MDMA to break the addiction, please. I'm just not comfortable taking, I know it's been widely suggested to me, but I'm just not comfortable taking any psychoactive drugs to try to work on my alcoholism. I'm just determined to do it the old-fashioned way. Amen. Khalik says, what's your thought on weak men? Be more specific when you say weak men. Tell me what you mean, please. Michelle W. says, hi, Noah from the UK. Hope you're doing okay. Today I am okay, and I hope you're okay as well. Marina says, Illinois, cool. Francie, what supplements are you taking daily? I take L-tyrosine every day. I take L-glutamine every day. I take vitamin D3 with K2. I take a men's multivitamin. I take fish oil. I take a B complex. I take 5-HTP. I take vitamin C. And that may be it for my daily. Intake. I think obviously within the multi, right, and within the B complex, there's a myriad of other things like folic acid and stuff like that. Michelle says, hi, Noah from the UK. I hope you're doing okay. Thank you. I hope you are too. Marina says, or did I do that? My bad. J Charm, I'm tired of COVID. It's giving me anxiety. I hear you. I really do hear you on that. So I have a lot of thoughts on that, but I'm going to use that as a video idea. So something I just did to mitigate that, the stress and the anxiety of everybody and every outlet and every social media post. Of course, I'm stretching the word everybody a bit, but so many people are just talking about COVID, and it's outrage news. It stresses me out so bad. I wind up obsessing about it, spinning about it, ruminating on what I would say, what I wouldn't say if certain lines of conversation were brought to me. And so just this morning, I decided that I was going to completely rid my timeline of any content from any person, whether it's a major source media person to like it's just a friend or a family member. But I don't follow a single soul that consistently in any way, shape, or form posts about anything that has to do with COVID or politics, period. It's not good for me. I don't want to get online and see those things any longer. I'm not interested in other people's opinions on anything on either side of any aisle on any particular issue. I'm just not, it's not good for me. So I have curated my social media to only be fitness, lighthearted, funny stuff, health-related things, business-related things, alcohol addiction or drug addiction recovery things, stuff like that. And I think that's a good idea for me at this time. Maybe that would be good for you. Ricardo Moreno says, hello from deep South Texas, Edinburgh. Awesome. Welcome. I've never been. Autumn Markham says, I want you to go live on Instagram. Autumn, I don't think I'll probably ever go live on Instagram. It'll maybe happen once in a blue moon. I think you've asked me this before, but it's just not something that I think I'm going to do. I just don't see myself doing it. For whatever reason, I guess I don't inherently see the value in it. Taylor, but I hope you're having a good day. Taylor says, awesome, good. Isaac, I'm from Florida. Where are you all from? Oh, broad question. I'm from Beaverton. Taylor, lots of plants and gardening. I like that. Triple O Charlie, 000 says, hello, no, I'm recently subscribed to your channel. All I have to say is that it's okay if you relapse. You can always start over. Please don't go away. I appreciate it, and it certainly is. Beach Mom, Douglas Block says, hey, I just talked to Douglas yesterday. Garrett 2H says, hey back. Taylor says, found so many new herbs growing in the compost. Mushrooms are intense as hell. You got to be careful. It's unpredictable. Yeah, absolutely. Real Time S says, hey bro, hope you're well. I am today. Thank you. It's been a rough couple of months in certain ways. Marina Kiel says, found you through your dad's channel. Awesome. Welcome. And I'm glad you're there. As well. Beach Mom Orlando. Awesome. Taylor, hell yeah. K2. Good. Paul says, hi. Hey, Paul. Amen. Colleague says, I mean, by men being weak as general and always self-pity and feel everyone didn't care about them. I suppose my opinion on weak men just depends on, there's so many factors. Self-pity. I have experienced tremendous self-pity before. I think what's important when it comes to when I come across people that tend to complain a lot or repeat certain patterns, which I have a history of doing a lot. I think for me, it's just trying to get a sense of what they want. If it's something I can do to support them or help, if I'm invested in their life, if they're invested in mine. I certainly don't go offering my opinion and thoughts on other people. I just set boundaries around people that I don't think give me energy or life. I'm not sure I answered your question, but I try not to judge anyone is what I'm trying to say. I just try to assess if I want to have them in my sphere. But we're all trying to mosey through this life. Ted says, glad to see you back. Thanks, Ted. John Gilfillan says, hey, Noah, how are you coping mentally? Just finished watching Douglas. I'm coping pretty well mentally right now. I just sort of got back on a very simple plan for healthy coping strategies for guys like me who tend to have lapses in mood and judgment and drinking, stuff like that. So I'm coping well. I've got a good routine. I made a video about it yesterday. Beach Mom says, me also, John. Vegan Gains Hugh says, you look great too. Thank you. I appreciate it. Beach Mom says, he looks marvelous. You guys, thank you. Taylor says, I have not watched the news in 7 years too damn much. I can step outside my door and figure it out. I love that, Taylor. Yeah, I just don't get anything out of it anymore. And here's the thing also, when it comes to any one particular subject that anyone may or may not feel is, or think rather, is polarizing, or that they really want to talk about, or that they think they have strong opinions on, if I haven't personally done my own research, if I haven't taken the time and put forth the due diligence to really educate myself on the entire topic from a broad spectrum, from a root cause to blah, 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 I don't want to talk about it. It's a moot point to me. It makes no difference. I don't care how passion-filled someone is or what the news is saying. So much of it, if you dig in yourself and you take the time, which I rarely am in the mood to do, you'll find that there's a lot more nuances, a lot more going on, which means we're just having empty conversations, and it's just not good for me. I just don't enjoy it. Ted Mosby says, have you looked into TRT making COVID worse? Just had a young, healthy friend die of COVID. He also was on TRT, but also took extra gains for the gym. I've never looked into that, and I'm sorry for the loss of your friend. C. Sosa says, I disabled Instagram recently for the same reason. Yep. J. Charm, trying not to watch the news as much anymore. Yeah, it's crap. Amen colleague says, is self-pity and feel everyone is horrible and don't care if they depression, sign of depression, or weak men. Noah, how do you react to anxiety relapse? Oh man, dude, I react to anxiety relapse with a momentary freak out. Just a momentary freak out where I'm like, no, 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 no. But outside of that, I just go straight into instinctual habits that have been ingrained in me as far as how to work through and overcome acute anxiety and then generalized anxiety. So for acute anxiety, obviously I want to calm my body down, so I do whatever I can in that moment to soothe myself. Square breathing is very, very effective, or box breathing. I do that regularly. Positive affirmations, stretching, relaxing music, supportive, relaxing friends, talking about it immediately, things like that. For generalized anxiety, I just try to assess what I can control in my life and what I can't control. So I make sure I get support, but I also make sure that I'm not sabotaging my stillness with like unnecessary amounts of caffeine or drugs or alcohol or really late night sugar that might sabotage sleep, things like that. So I just try to take inventory of my behavior to see if there's something I can do to get better. I have a super chat from my mom. I don't see a question, Mama, but let's see if you left one. My mom, Maya Thomas, says, always delighted to see the face I love. Thank you, Mom. 34 years old, my number one fan is definitely still my mom. And how lucky am I for that? I love you, Mom. I'll see you tomorrow. Strongest woman I know. 11JF11. Do you work in the treatment industry, Noah? I do not. J Charm says, I never been a drinker until COVID happened. It took 6 months, but I finally kicked the bottle. Yeah, COVID, I think, really ramped up people's sense of stress, people's isolation, and people's potentially unhealthy coping habits and mechanisms. It definitely did for me. I ate more during COVID. I drank more during COVID. I rationalized unhealthy, maladaptive behaviors more in COVID. I think a lot of us just sort of went into survival mode, and some of us are having trouble coming out. And I think the reality is COVID is going to be a thing for quite some time. And I know for me, the unmanageability of not doing something different or trying to find a different way to handle just the way my brain processes life was becoming more necessary, more paramount. And I've luckily in 2020, in 2021, a lot of it I did spend sober and behaving in a way that I'm okay with and being consistent, and then different stressors, different spirals. So it's a tough thing. Michelle says, glad you are doing okay today. I've struggled with mental issues since I was young. I started following you last year when I was going through a bad episode, and it really helped. So thank you. Thank you, Michelle, and I'm glad it really helped. That's something that sometimes I spin about and obsess about on the channel. It's like, man, what am I doing here? Am I helping? Am I hurting? Is it a good thing that I'm here? Is it no longer serving anyone or myself? I wonder about that. Maybe too much. But it's a hard thing to imagine letting go, because it's just been a normal part of my life for so long. I've been making YouTube content for like almost a decade, which is crazy. Keith Peters says, Noah, did you feel like the thyroid medication you started helped with your mental health at all? Yeah, I think so. I think it helped a little bit. Tau, I mean, it's a slippery slope. You do need to make sure that you're not over or under medicated, because you will find side effects on both ends of that. Tau says, sending you good wishes. What was the best thing that happened for you this week? What did you enjoy? I am not surprised that this is your question. Guys, Tau, as her avatar says, is probably one of the most consistently upbeat, bright, warm energy presence people I've ever had on this platform. And she's consistently been here regardless of my behavior, regardless of what I post, regardless of if I'm in upswing or sorry, I just smushed a spider. Anyway, she's always positive and warm, and I love positive, warm people. Sending you good wishes too, first of all. What was the best thing that happened for you this week? I think the best thing that happened for me this week was that I didn't have brutal and heinously uncomfortable obsessions to drink. So that was a real relief. When I get lost in a spiral of craving and obsession. It's so all-encompassing and all-consuming, and it can't be overstated how grateful and how lucky it is to not have that going on, because it just consumes me and takes me away from every present moment and from everything. So that was a wonderful thing that happened this week. What did I enjoy? I enjoyed spending time with my wife, getting back to fundamentals. I enjoyed taking stock of my day at the end of each day and being glad for my behavior, for being glad for the way I participated in my life. Anytime I can go to bed and say, you didn't do anything harmful to yourself or others, it's a good feeling. We have a super chat from Tennessee Fun Outdoor. Been inspired a ton and glad I found your channel. Thank you. It's really, really nice of you. I appreciate it, and I hope you're having a good day. Guys, the super chat function is just a way to support the channel and then immediately get my attention. But otherwise, I'll always work through everyone's questions, and I sure appreciate you guys being here regardless. Joe McCormick says, anxiety, depression, and alcoholism. I feel you, bro. You're an inspiration, and be proud of yourself. Top man. You give us hope. Thanks, Joe. I appreciate that. Hey, Big Dawes. I have a question. Why does my partner ghosting me? Currently, she's going through depression phase, and I'm not sure what should I do. She kept ignoring me on and off. All I can say is that if your person is having a hard time, in my experience, the most beneficial thing you can do, other than making sure they understand that you are there, that you care, and that you're ready to support them and be helpful or kind to them when they want, the best thing you can do is focus on yourself and see what you can do to strengthen your own sense of wellness, your own vitality, your own purpose, your own path in life. I think the more time you put into you, the more magnetic you'll become to that person. I think the more codependent you may behave as far as your ability to be okay if that person is okay, and then not okay if they're not okay, will probably lend itself more to a negative charge, right? Fancy way of saying just focus on yourself and how you can make you happy, how you can make you content, how you can make yourself fulfilled, and then make sure that that person just knows you're there and that you care. And perhaps remember that it's not your responsibility to fix or maintain or cure anyone or anything other than yourself. None of the stuff I came up with, just stuff that people have said to me. Alessandro Risotto says, ciao from Italy. I always follow you. You help. Thank you, man. Ciao. Amen Khalik says, is depression and anxiety both mental disorder or problems? I think depression and anxiety can be mental disorders. I think we all experience as humans depression or sadness, and anxious feelings that don't necessarily mean you have a mental disorder, but it's just part of the human condition based on tons of factors, right? Stresses, life events, triggers, activations, environments, things like that. Situations. Sean says, hey man, how are you? I'm okay today. Thank you. Rachel Ruiz says, hey Noah, I have struggles with alcoholism, and I'm wondering, I feel like I always have one foot in the door and one foot out. I want to quit, but then I don't want to. I understand. Like, trust me. I fully understand. I think that's known as cognitive dissonance, when your thoughts don't necessarily always coincide with your behaviors. I've been in that state and in that space a great many times, and it's a frustrating place to be. What I know I have done for myself when I get in one of those spaces is I just keep exploring, and I have a ton of grace for myself, and I tell myself that all will unfold as it's meant to, and I try to mitigate the more dangerous sides of my addiction when I'm in it. And then I try to just, when I get moments of clarity and moments of willingness, I try to just continue to learn about life sober, what it could be like, what it could mean like. I try to talk to people who have something that I want. I try to educate myself more and more about addiction, about mental health issues, about trauma, about grief. I just keep exploring. And then, of course, I take full responsibility for the realities of my active addiction, what it could mean, what's at stake for myself physically, mentally, emotionally, for my immediate surroundings. I just try to look at it all, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But I think beyond all that, I think it's just important for you to remember you're worth it. there's no telling when necessarily any of us will forge a new path that will be better and more consistent. I just keep trying, and I encourage you to keep trying as well. That's all I can say. Cameron Coates says, where'd that go? Cameron Coates says, hello from Ontario, Canada. Taylor says, oh, hello to you. Sorry, Cameron. Hi, right back. Taylor says, is it okay to relapse? It hurt to see you beat yourself up over. I know I'm not in your shoes, but you're doing great, and I've learned so much. Thank you for sharing. Listen, so when I say something like it's okay to relapse, I'm speaking to the guy or girl or the person who, like me, despite so much genuine want and effort, finds that their brain, their environment, their situation, their whatever, tricks them into going back to a familiar, safe place, even if it's a destructive place. It's like, it's pretty nuanced and complex, everything I've learned about addiction, an addicted brain, the disease of addiction, and it is no doubt that our minds have been rewired to view our drug of choice as a means of survival. I learned a lot about that in modern addiction medicine curriculum that I took at treatment. So I think when I talk about relapse being okay, it's not that there aren't risks when you relapse. I think we should all, if we have good reason to be sober, we should all be so lucky to stay sober, and we should all remember what we can and can't control and keep trying. But a great many of us will relapse, and it's so important that the message to that person, myself included, isn't that they're a loser or that they're a failure or that they don't care enough or that there's something bad or wrong about them, but that they are fighting a tricky, progressive disease that aims to kill us, right? That is incredibly elusive, incredibly persuasive, that lives in a very subconscious level in our brain chemistry, and that we should keep trying. Because what I do know about the cycle of addiction is that part of what keeps the alcoholic or the addict in that cycle of addiction after they have lapsed or relapsed is shame, is the sense that there's just something inherently wrong with them. And that shame cycles itself right back through to the need to not be uncomfortable. And then you just go round and round. So it's okay to relapse because you need to keep trying and you need to love yourself anyway. That's the reality. It's not my way of saying there aren't consequences to relapse. There are. They could be deadly, actually. But a relapse is no reason to hate yourself and to never try again. Now, this is coming from someone who's currently 8 days sober. So I need this message more than anyone because I need to love myself enough to keep trying. It's very, very tiresome to keep trying, but I want to keep trying because I still dream and envision me years from now having consistently worked a recovery program, having consistently stayed off my drug of choice and all moods altering substances as far as drugs and alcohol go. I totally still envision myself having a world that has nothing to do with drinking. Like, what would that look like, and what would it feel like to be in my body, to live my life where I haven't ingested my drug of choice nor thought about ingesting my drug of choice, and my brain's fully rewired right to this new sense of living? What would that guy be into? What would he want to do? What would he explore? What would drive him? What could that look like? Because I know there are addicts and alcoholics who the last thing on their mind is their drug of choice. They're just totally free to explore everything about life outside of that. That's always been my dream. But I got today, and I got to focus on today. How to cure brief depersonalization. So, I mean, how to cure brief depersonalization? That's a great question. I think when I get too foggy or too out of it, I just start trying to assess what I'm doing that's perpetuating brain fog, I guess. So start learning and reading about how to clear the mind. Minimize stress. I think one of the best things any of us can do when we get that really detached void feeling in our heads is to minimize stress, to assess diet, to assess sleep, to assess relationships. But for immediate, hell, you could jump in an ice cold shower, take a warm shower for about 5 to 10 minutes, get your core body temperature up, and then just turn that baby cold. 2 minutes in the back, 2 minutes on the front. My guess is that it'll push you into your body. That's my guess. Go for a walk, get some fresh air. things like that also help. Exercise also helps. Dewansh Chowdhury says, bro, how you respond to your intrusive thoughts, especially while you are with other people? I think the quickest way I respond to my intrusive thoughts is to one, I've had a lot of coaching and help with this, but to remember that there's my thoughts and my mind. They're two separate things. So my mind the job is to observe the thoughts. That said, sometimes I think that reality testing quickly is the best way to at least put things aside for a while. The way I quickly reality test on the spot, in the moment, is to ask myself, is it true and can I prove it? If whatever I'm spiraling about is true, because I can prove it, then I need to talk to someone about that. I need to process, I need to make sure that it's not destroying me. If it's not true, but it's still something I think about, then I'll start journaling about it, writing about it later, probably still talking about it, but basically getting it out of my system. I've been journaling every morning for the last week. I think it's fairly useful. So those are some thoughts. JF says, I wouldn't take any advice from an addict that keeps on relapsing. I feel you, man. Good for you. You do whatever you think is best for you. Gushi Mushi says, do you love Harvest Hodgepodge? I don't know what that is. JF, Jorma X says, aw, heart and smiley face. Paul, agree. People use news just to fight. I've come to the conclusion that sobriety needs to be in the moment and joyful. We need to understand lapses don't matter. Yeah, I like that. And I hate to do this, but to go back to what JF said, he wouldn't take advice. That is to say that I don't think he believes that people that struggle with mental health issues, perhaps people who struggle with relapse, have anything meaningful to offer, or that they can't be knowledgeable or have experience that could lend itself well to bettering another person. I wonder if that's true. Vince Souza says, any new hobbies? I started longboarding, def recommend it. That sounds awesome. I don't really have any new hobbies right now, other than trying to get into my readings and clean up my news feed. But that sounds fun. Sounds really fun. Anita M says, you are such an inspiration. Thank you, Anita. Rasmus A says, hello Noah, how are you doing? Good to see you. I'm okay today, and I take everything, particularly since these last couple months have been tougher for me on a day-to-day basis. Kirsten says, man, got called into work. Wish I could be a part of this thing. Hang. Hope you're taking care of yourself today. You too, Kirsten. Miss you. Anson Thomas says, how are you doing, Noah? Your video on ruminating literally saved my life. Good. I'm okay today, managing my ruminations pretty well today. Jamie says, any tips on ruminating on being physically bullied? Reality testing, like I mentioned before. Talk about it with another person. Make sure that your thoughts you're processing them in a reasonable way, in a positive way. Control what you can. Try not to victimize yourself if you can help it. Remember that ask yourself if someone's violating your rights, and if they are, take the adequate steps to address the violation. And just be gentle with yourself. I'd have to know more about what you were talking about just to share my thoughts on it, though. Mitch says, Noah, bro, I would love to have a sensible drink with you, a nice Jack and Coke with a cigar. No thanks, Mitch. Osama Katan says, what do you think about tapering alcohol to avoid withdrawal symptoms after relapse? Oh, man, look, coming off of alcohol can be deadly. It certainly can be very uncomfortable. There are real potential negative side effects with seizures and delirium tremens. So I think that someone who's dangerously dependent on alcohol should seek professional help, and that's all I have to say, to monitor in a medical detox setting. Robert Ball says, do you take CBD for anxiety relief? No, I have an unreasonable fear of CBD, of all cannabis products. Based on a lot of stories I've heard about depersonalization, for some reason my brain associates CBD with weed and weed with depersonalization, and I've suffered from it. So there's a bit of a mislapse in my mind there. William Hickey says, hi Noah. What's up, Will? Jason Sandoval says, you're blessed to have your mom. Love and appreciate her. Spend a lot of time with her. Take a lot of pictures. I lost mine this year from COVID. Thanks for your videos. Thanks for making a difference. It's really sad, and I appreciate your words. And yeah, I hope you're taking care of yourself. It's really sad. Doomer Vlog says, it's weird when you have a substance issue how fast the years go. You think, I'll only use for a few months, and months turn into a year pretty fast. Yeah, it really is weird, isn't it? That's been my experience too. Micus BZND, how is it feeling working out every day? This last couple weeks have been good. I had a really tough time finding my same passion, my same drive, my same interest with exercise pretty much right after I started OnlyFans. It's like it took me out of the moment, it took me out of my priorities, it took me out of the present, and then I had a tragedy happen with a friend, and I just got sad, and my energy got weird, my diet got weird. So I really took that for granted. It's something I've been thinking about, how much it means to me to have exercise, how much it means to me to feel good with my exercise, and how much I want to protect all of that. So it's been feeling really good lately, and I believe in it so much, and it's such a big part of my esteem. Tao Tao with a heart. Amen. Kalik says, Noah, why do people always sabotage themselves in self-pity? I don't know. I don't know why people do that. I've learned about myself from counselors that my self-sabotage comes from self-esteem issues, feelings of unworthiness, an inconsistent childhood that was riddled with some emotional neglect and a lot of addiction, causing me to seek chaos and feel uncomfortable amidst consistency, having been something I wasn't used to as a kid. I think there's a lot of reasons we do stuff like that, and I think it should be safely explored with a counselor. Shiva says, stay safe, brother. Thank you, you too. Kitty Louie says, hi, hey. Kylie says, why do people still depressed and nothing changed when they recover from social anxiety? I don't know. It's a lot of complex environmental, interpersonal, biochemical factors. But all stuff that can be worked through. Naomi Carrier says, been sober since... Naomi Carrier says... Been sober since March 24, 19, no relapses and no feelings of it. Awesome. It's really, really, really cool. Before I hit that rock bottom and made me dying on March 18th, I relapsed in 2017. But it's March 24 now, so look at that. Beautiful thing. Good for you, seriously. Aware, will work towards me. No doubt I'll keep trying. Jeff says, I did take care of myself, but she's on my mind and I really want to support and help her. But she just refused to talk to her. Sounds like you need to continue to process that, Dutch. Talk about it, feel your feelings, but she can't save you. I don't think you have to save yourself from this discomfort. Sounds like you've done what you can do, and right now you just need to work on yourself, get to the space that she's asking for, and yeah, I think that would be your best bet. And feel your feelings. Talk about those feelings. Be upset and be sad, but potentially don't put it on her. She's on her own journey, you're on yours. That sucks, I'm sorry. James O says, hello, first caught your channel back almost 20 years ago as I was going through similar issues like some anxiety. Just came across your channel. Oops! My bad, guys. I just realized what I did. I'm not sure where I left off. Sorry about that. Naomi, in responding to you, good job, congratulations, it's wonderful. Dutch, what I was saying is feel your feelings, maybe talk about it with someone else. Don't victimize yourself if you can help it, and just acknowledge that you're uncomfortable with her decisions right now, but that you can't control her, and you can't wait for her to make you okay if you can help it. You got to make yourself okay on this one, and that might mean grief and grieving and writing and processing and talking about it again. Those are my thoughts. I would be confused too, though. We are confusing people, humans. James O says, hello, first got your channel back almost 10 years ago as I was going through similar issues, low T anxiety. Just came across your channel again and it helped me mitigate some anxiety last night. Good. Good. Kylie Khalik, Amen Khalik says, is victim mentality a sign of a weak person and feel everyone evil? Why do people think everyone didn't care when they do? You feel emotional pain. Is victim mentality a sign of a weak person? No, I don't think that's a sign of a weak person. I just think that's the sign of a person who still needs to work through their issues, still needs to work through their perspectives, who may be dealing with a lot of sadness that they don't know how to work through or get through in a healthy way. I don't think it inherently makes you weak to think you're a victim. I just think until you know better, you won't be able to do better. And some people have been victimized as well, right? It's not common, but it does happen. Kids can be victimized all the time, but adults are rarely victimized. Why do people think everyone didn't care about them? Probably goes back to childhood. J-Charm, hey man, just watch the show. I'm not trying to sound rude, but the comments are starting to annoy me. Yeah, my comment section has been more toxic lately, but I think I have to take some responsibility for that. I've been inconsistent on here, and I've been behaving differently in a way that I imagine would be strange for some people. And hey, it's the internet. Yeah, anyone is welcome here, and people are often comfortable on the internet expressing their opinions and thoughts in unhealthy ways. It's something that to this day slightly bothers me. Kristen B, listen everyone, it's called an episode of use, not relapse. So yeah, an episode of use, I might say, Kristen, is probably like a lapse, couple episodes. I think once you're back out there for a while, you're probably in relapse mode. But Mo says, less embrace, more stoicism. Yeah, I like that. Tao Tao says, Kristen B, good point. An episode is not necessarily destined to become a bender. Kristen, just want to start changing the terminology when speaking of addiction. Thanks, no, you inspire much. Yeah, I think you're right. Definitely we learned the difference of a lapse and a relapse. I just don't know where mine falls under, since I was drinking off and on for about a month there. Kristen B, words like, MO, to let something go, you must embrace something new. True that. Healthy replacement. Kristen B says, words like clean and then dirty just stigmatize this more. We all need to start changing the words we use in addiction. Sure. Like that. Khalik says, do you think exercise and breathing is a cure to social anxiety? I think the best cure is change belief. I think it's all positive. Snake Eyes says, I look like Brian Landry. Don't know who that is. Tao Tao, speech language doesn't help people. Am I ashamed of them? Yeah, that's so true. D-Law says, rumination kills me to the point I can't sleep for days and run mental loops from every angle over and over. I physically draw it right down and get sick. I try everything to stop it. Yeah, man, rumination is such a painful thing. You're not alone. It can get better. Go talk to someone about it, I think, is important. Reality test it. Look into ABC therapy so you can start addressing the activating events. Remember that you are not your thoughts, you are your response to those thoughts. It's one of those, it's so annoying because I've had stretches where it's like the rumination was so much better, and I've had stretches where the rumination is so much worse. And being able to just move through them, just to observe them but not personalize them, it's hard. And one thing I do know though is that when I'm participating in acts of wellness consistently, aka when I'm not just sitting with me for too long, I do better. So being around healthy, like-minded people in big groups helps. Exercising in groups helps. Participating in recovery for me as an alcoholic helps, right? Participating in wellness and self-improvement helps. Sleep hygiene helps. So all of these things, generally healthy things to do, tend to help. But in acute situations of it, where the anxiety is sky high and you're almost paralyzed, especially laying in bed at night, it's brutal. It's really tough. Osama Katan says, man, I love you. I have to go. I can't keep watching. Old-fashioned ways in AA don't work. There's no God. Be realistic. Believe in science. Try. I respect your opinion. Unless you have been through 12-step recovery programs, studied the book, worked with a sponsor, gone through all of the steps, taken someone else through the steps, I just don't think people can rightly comment on recovery in that way. That's just my opinion. But I do think that there are a multitude of ways to approach being sober in a healthy way that addresses spiritual, social, psychological and biological aspects of wellness, but I think 12-step can very much be a really healthy thing. And I know a lot of people that do AA, and it works incredibly well for them as part of their recovery. So we'll have to agree to disagree. Nicole Jurgens to no disrespect, but you look like the wanted man here in Florida. Gotcha. That's funny. Kojin Master says, sorry I'm late. My question, did TRT help your mental health? Eventually it did, yes. Once I got it all dialed in. The Myth of Mental Illness by Thomas Oz. Eddie says, yo, how you doing? Keep going, bro. I've been 3 weeks sober from pills. I hope that can extend into months. I'm rooting for you, man. Good for you. Amen says, Noah, can emotional abuse be like someone being harsh, but it didn't look like abuse? Absolutely. Emotional abuse can 100% be that way. For kids, it's often neglect and inconsistency. Daniel Andraszewski says, hey, thank you for sharing your story. I'm working on getting back to sobriety and not looking forward to withdrawal. Be safe, and I look forward to that for you as well, if that's something that your brain is telling you is good for you. Jensen 2021, sup Noah, watch some of your stuff. I got 2 years sober in November. You look like you upbeat and sober. I am upbeat and sober for today. Jensen says, I'd rather drink my urine than alcohol. Good for you. I like that. V Panda says, hi man, what is your opinion on LSD over 600? I have no opinion. I've never done it. Be careful is what I would say. Daniel says, thank you for doing this. You're welcome. Peter says, hey Noah, all right. Peter says, hey Noah, how you doing, brother? I'm doing okay, Peter. It's good to see your face. How are you? Jensen says, if you're a real addict, any substance will eventually lead you back to your DOC. I'm inclined to agree. Osama says, what your girlfriend thinks about you having an OnlyFans account. I no longer have an OnlyFans account. I don't have a girlfriend either. I've got a wife. And we're going to let that dog lie. Michelle W., it saddened me to see you struggling after all your hard work, but you're only human and losing a good friend is enough to test anyone, so glad you managed to take back some control. I don't know how much control I've taken back, but I've certainly seem to have regained a humility and a healthy fear of my addiction, of my mental health issues that have put me back in a more consistent, calm, structured-based, recovery-based daily plan. But thank you for the kindness. Tao Tao says, was there a single event that caused you to leave OnlyFans, or did it simply not resonate with you? In my opinion, counts, I think that leaving the platform was a wise and healthy decision. I think it was a lot of things. I think deep down, I could tell right away that suddenly I was having trouble being present. I was hyper-focused on making money. I was hyper-focused on what would my next post be. I was a little intoxicated by the attention I was getting on there. It was different, but some part of me inherently wondered, is this not a healthy, sustainable thing? I think when the lead counselor from my treatment center called me and said, hey, what is this all about? I'm concerned. This looks like you trading addictions based on me being a recovering alcoholic. I think that was a red flag, but I also think my response to it, which was, it bothered me so much. And this guy is sharp and he knows what's best for me. And I got that same feedback from a couple people that are really sharp, that know me very well. And I think my resistance to their professional feedback was kind of a red flag. But I was also trying to explore, reinventing myself. And, I'm sober now. I want to be able to try new things and live free and not be afraid. But deep down, I just think I probably knew that it wasn't a healthy thing. And then beyond that, it started making me less interested in the gym. I started getting more preoccupied and thinking about it. And I think it wasn't a healthy thing. I think I knew that. I think for some people, perhaps it could be. I think with my history of addiction and mental health issues, it just seemed out of character. And then, obviously, when Frankie died, my good friend, and my mental health started to crash really bad. My physical health started crashing a little bit, and my obsession to drink came back. I was like, I know I'm not going to post. And then when I fully crashed, I was like, okay, I got to go back to fundamentals. I got to go back to basics. And I don't think taking pictures of myself half naked is going to be a good plan for me developing a good sense of self-esteem and a good sense of wellness. So all those things. Yeah. The room says you lost your mic. I know. Thank you. Uh-oh. About to sneeze. Oh. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. Where are we? How long have we been doing this, by the way? I have no idea. I don't know. 45 minutes? I think we'll probably do this for another 15 minutes. Guys, I appreciate you guys hanging with me. It's nice. Karen Lewin says, hey, from Cape Town, South Africa, just doing the next best thing. You're very inspiring. Thank you for your shares. Thank you, Karen. I love that. Nick says, I've been clean and sober for almost 6 years. Life was kick-ass until I had my first panic attack last year. Life has been living hell since. Anxiety, depression, panic, nothing helps. Nick, I'm so sorry. Oh, it's terrible. That's terrible. I'm really sorry. I hope you find support. I hope you never give up. I hope you feel better soon. Having my mood crash on me a couple months ago for the first time in a while was so scary and so defeating, and it played very well into me going back to drinking as far as like, I'll never feel good. I'm always going to struggle with my mood. I always struggle to make peace with the fact that for me, mental health, it really does ebb and flow. But if I play my cards right, I've found that my behavior can remain consistent. My contentment can be okay either way. But all this is easier said than done when it's hard to get out of bed, when you're incredibly down, when you can't taste food, when you can't experience comfort and joy. When you're anxious, it's so uncomfortable. I'll be thinking about you, man. Mark says, can't hear you, bro. Hey, man, the sound is really bad. Hey, cannot hear you. Sound engineer Noah. I think your mic came off with your hoodie. We can't hear you. Oh, snap. You got on OnlyFans. How's it going, brother, from Google Boon? Mike, can't hear you. Audio volume. Mic on. Shook off the shirt. Mic on. Yeah, okay. Hey, man, David says, hey, man, been waiting. Watching your channel for years. I remember you did a video on porn addiction. I struggle with it myself really bad. Do you have any tips to overcome it? I basically don't. Keep exploring it. Keep talking about it. I have gone long stretches, a year at a time once, without watching porn, and then I've gotten right back into it. Right now, I haven't watched porn in probably a month or two, and I'm happy about that. That's a good thing for me overall, I think. You know, I've gotten some professional feedback that it all depends on your relationship with porn. Some people can watch porn here and there, and outside of the moral angle of the whole thing, they can take it or leave it. They don't spend time thinking or ruminating about it. I don't know that I'm addicted to porn at this point. I just don't know. I've been able to watch porn and then not watch it for 2 or 3 weeks and not think about it. What I do know, though, is that my wife feels such a greater sense of peace if I'm not. And I have a commitment to her, and it's important for me to honor my commitments. And then I do, in general, believe that it's a healthy thing not to, but I just keep talking, exploring it. Yeah, I feel you. I think if it's something you're doing every day compulsively, right, and you're thinking about it, and it's taking you away from other parts of your life, then you should probably continue just to work on it. Greg says, hey, Greg. Google Goon says, have you tried CBD? I have not. Shannon Hendricks says, you are addicted to social media, among other things. Do you use this channel? That's your opinion. I always think it's interesting when people share their opinions as facts, so that's your opinion, Shannon. Shannon says, do you use this channel to support your addiction? I don't think so. But it's something I keep an eye on. Question for you, Shannon. Do you find that people respond well to the way you talk to them? I'd be curious to know. Isn't it weird, you guys, when people say stuff like that? Like, this person, Shannon, does not know me. She doesn't know me. So it's so weird. Like, she has no idea what my social media habits are. She has no idea what my day-to-day life is. Be careful for people that appear, like I think Shannon appears to be a toxic person. Be careful when there are toxic people that spout their opinions as facts onto you. Lucky for me, if Shannon keeps doing this, I can literally ban her from ever commenting on my channel again. That's something I can control, right? But the Shannons of the world, be careful how you receive them, because they can be very, very toxic and very, very self-absorbed. Stop in traffic in my Rasta hat. Hello. Acting with a little more dignity and self-respect and a little less like a 3-year-old girl. Hello, acting. Good for you. Daniel says, dude, ignore all those negative posts. You inspire me. Thanks, man. M says, well done. You inspire me. Keep going. I'm praying for you now. God bless. Heidi says, wow, there are some mean comments on here occasionally. Stop in Traffic says, why do you think some people are able to conduct themselves as independent adults and other people require a team of others to make decisions for them? I just think different people have different issues, different traumas, different brain chemistry, different environments, you know. I often look at certain people who I don't know, and I try to remind myself that you don't know someone just based on how they act at work or how you perceive them in a social environment. I'm like, man, do they have their life way more together than I do? Is life easier for them than sometimes I think it is for me? But I am who I am. I have the issues that I have. I do the best that I can. I'm still worth it, and I know that. All these things I know, but yeah, it's interesting. I think another thing that I try to be mindful of is that few people choose to be, and it's well within their rights to be more private. Sometimes I wonder if I should be more private, but very few people are truly vulnerable with the public about what they think and what they experience, how they live their life, what their struggles are, what their successes are. Very few people give you like a fair shake at who they really are. And so you're left to wonder. And especially if you're on social media too much, you're left to observe and contrast the best of what they present with kind of like what the worst of you, at least what you think it might be. And rarely do we stack up. I think that's part of the toxic nature of social media if we're not careful. We get such a false sense of reality. I know I can. D Bodybuilder 1 says, your ulcer problems started in 5th of July 2019. How long it took to fully cure? Look, if I'm being perfectly honest, I thought that was an ulcer, but when I got an endoscopy, they said it wasn't. That really sharp, burning, rash-like feeling inside mostly went away when I got sober and I really got honest and tidy with my diet, my lifestyle. But occasionally, depending on what I'm eating or what's going on, I can still get that burning feeling. It's just pretty rare. So for me, removing alcohol and then minimizing unhealthy eating, it did the trick. But I did get the endoscopy to verify that I didn't have a potential bleeding ulcer. So general healthy lifestyle practices. Aisha Minhad said, hey. Ben's dad says, great to see your face again. Good to see you too. Thank you. Cameron Haynes says, I look up to you. Thank you. It's nice of you to say. Osama Katan said, $1 million question. Can alcoholics learn to be social drinkers? No. I don't think actual, true alcoholics whose brain have been washed and warped and rewired through alcohol can ever unwire their brain to be able to take alcohol in and then drink socially. I have heard stories of people who are able to control their drinking with all of their might, not overdrink necessarily, but they're miserable. And they think about alcohol all the time, and they put so much effort into not doing what their mind is obsessing about that they may as well be drinking all the time because they're still warped, you know? So no, I truly, truly do not believe that an actual alcoholic can learn to be a social drinker. I think a problem drinker can learn to be a social drinker. I think a potentially heavy drinker who goes through some life consequences can reassess and go, oh, I should probably not do that. But some people, their brains, once you introduce alcohol to them, they lose the ability to choose that sort of thing. They really do. That's my experience has said that. The literature says that. The modern addiction medicine science says that. It is well beyond a choice. I think what's confusing for some people is that some people binge drink and don't get addicted. Some people drink too much and they don't actually get addicted. That's not the way their brains work. I think anyone drinks long enough, hard enough can develop physical addiction. But just it's a fluid thing, right? It's a spectrum. That's my 2 cents. Great question. I love that question. Nicole says, struggled with alcohol for a good 10 to 12 years, but the last 3-4 years of it was bad. Now sober since 4/2/18, therapy. I got to the reason as to why I drink. Yes, good for you. Thank you for sharing that. I fully agree. I don't think that 12-step is the only way through addiction. I think it's a really great resource and tool, and I find myself drawn to it and comforted to be amongst people that understand me. But therapy and getting into deeper issues and addressing diet and lifestyle, and supplements and potential medications if you need to, and trauma work. So important. So very important. Osama Katan says, man, you are great. I love the channel. I remember the porn thing just when you talked about it, and how both porn and alcohol work on dopamine. It was inspiring. Thanks, Osama. Yeah, that's a good point. Goon says, stay strong. We are not alone. Not at all. Nicole Bray says, the reason I drank never had to do with me. It was my anxiety of a toxic childhood and emotional abuse stepfather. I broke free of his chains. I learned his problems weren't mine to carry. That's so beautiful. That's so cool. Yeah, I've learned that the reason I drank was because of my childhood traumas as well, from being surrounded in an inconsistent home with inconsistent and emotionally unavailable parents who were lost in their drug and alcohol addictions, where chaos became my norm, where my fight or flight was always on as a kid, where feeling calm was uncomfortable, and where I became a caretaker for people that were supposed to be caretaking me, and then I normalized it. So alcohol slowed everything down for this mind of mine. It just slowed everything down, but the problem is that it slowed everything down for a time, but it also perpetuated the reasons I was drinking to whole new levels and made me much less functional. Crazy stuff. Greg says, you're very strong and honest, brother. Thank you, Greg. Dilena says, hello, how are you? I'm okay today. Having a pretty good live stream experience. Abdur Rahman says, I am an alcoholic. How do you get over the insomnia and cold sweating at night? Support, supplements, time, groups, time, and those other things. Hang in there, get support though. And then maybe look into L-glutamine, maybe look into L-tyrosine in the morning, maybe look into chamomile tea at night, some melatonin, lots of water, clean eating, things like that. And then just learn about what's going on in your brain. There's a book called This Naked Mind that's pretty good at getting the science down of it. And then maybe reach out to support groups if you just need to be around like-minded people that can support you through those first 30 to 40 days in particular. Those are the weirdest days. Your brain is going to be working double time to get you to go back. Tom Smith, 1996, your videos helped me out of my first bout of depression back in 2013. I'm glad to know that. Thank you for sharing. Abdur Rahman says, it's like now I have to drink to sleep. You may be physically dependent to the point where your mind is going to spin out of control for quite some time. Get support. It's just a brain process, and it's really uncomfortable though. So get support. Maybe you need medical attention. Rasmus says, I don't know why some people who don't like certain content keep watching. Personally, if I can't stand content, I won't watch it. Yeah, I've always found that very interesting. I think some people may watch content that triggers them because they enjoy the rush and the feel of being annoyed, and they really enjoy admonishing someone in the comment sections, and it gives people that invigorated fight or flight, excited feeling. But yeah, I've always been struck by the people who watch my content month after month, video after video, year after year, and they're negative or ugly or so bothered, but they keep watching. So it says it has more to do with them than it does with me. I don't know. Ryan Crook says, Brian Laundrie is now a Porsche pirate, guys. When you get a front porch, take your pack. I don't know what that is. Jim Dim, alcohol is just really romanticized by society, especially with young people. It sure is. Yeah, it sure is. Nicole, exactly. I grew up in constant chaos. Being calm and peaceful is terrifying for me. I didn't feel I was deserving of happiness because that's what I was told. Once I chose sobriety, everything changed. I love that. I'm so glad you're here, Nicole. I'm so glad you're here. I'm just choosing sobriety today. I'm so glad you're here. Okay, Osama says, quetiapine helped me at night. Withdrawal symptoms. I'm 3 years sober, by the way. But again, ayahuasca helped me find the roots of my addiction and helped me stop. I'm glad that worked for you guys. I'm going to go ahead and head out. It's been a good hour. I've appreciated the people that have participated on here. This has been a healthy part of my day. And I hope I was an okay, healthy part of yours. You guys mean a lot to me. Thank you for being here. Have a good rest of your Sunday. And I don't know when I'll do another live stream. They're fairly random. It depends on my mood and my schedule. But I'll see you when I see you. Maybe next Sunday. Bye, guys.